Hey guys, I just want to talk about Candace Owens' podcast today and some recent politics and some news lately. So I'm watching her podcast right now on the Daily Wire. It's titled "Did I Betray Trump?" for Vivek Ramaswamy, and she's talking about how basically that lots of people, more people are supporting Vivek and less people the other candidates. So let's just listen to this real quick here.
Is behind Trump, but apparently, according to the mainstream media narrative, she is surging. Everybody loves Nikki Haley. Everybody loves the idea of going to war forever.
Okay, so I just want to express my opinion about her views. I don't agree with what she's saying about a few things. So for one, let's look at the polls. So Nikki Haley is ahead of Vivek right now. This is from CBS News. This was published yesterday, on January 14th. So DeSantis is at 14%, Haley 12%, and Ramaswamy is at 4%, and Trump is at 69%. So obviously Haley is doing better than Ramaswamy. I don't care what Twitter polls she's looking at. Like, a lot of people are not on Twitter, and that's not really a good representation of who's in the lead. So I don't even use Twitter, and there's lots of people who don't use Twitter. So I would say that maybe Ramaswamy is in the lead from Twitter because probably most young people are on Twitter, but the older generations are not even on Twitter. And then she's also saying that Nikki Haley wants to go to war forever, and she wants to have these never-ending wars. This is really just a failure to understand geopolitics, and in my opinion, and I'm not an expert. I don't have a degree in any of this, but I think that when you just use common sense, if you allow your enemies to take over territories abroad, then bit by bit they're just going to keep conquering and invading other countries. Just like Ukraine was invaded by Russia, just as what are they called? Hamas invaded Israel. They want to take over Israel. Hamas is not our ally, obviously. They're not America's ally. Russia is not America's ally. China is not America's ally. These are enemies. What does China want to do? They want to invade Taiwan. They've been talking about invading Taiwan for years, for many, many years in the news. They're always talking about it, and the tension and pressure is just building more than ever. So according to Candace, we should not get involved in these foreign wars because they're never ending and we have enough problems on our own soil. I've heard this argument too many times, and it's just stupid. It's just ridiculous. If you let your enemies take over the world, then they're just going to come knocking at your door one day, and they're going to have all of the resources and they're going to have all of the power that they need to just take over our country. So I think that the America as an international police is actually a good thing in order to maintain international order, because if we let all these enemies just take over the world, then we're going to have some major problems as far as world order. Because do you want the world to be controlled by communist China and Russia and Hamas, better yet Hamas or ISIS or these other these radical insane people? No, we don't. So we don't want them to, we want them to keep inside their own countries. We don't want them invading other countries. And in order to do that, you have to be involved in these disputes, these foreign disputes. America has to be the international police in order to prevent these enemies from gaining more power and taking advantage of other countries. So yeah, we do need to get involved in those wars, and we don't want to be involved too much, of course. We want to be involved enough that we can also maintain our own borders, and like we have the immigration problem right now at our own borders. They're open borders right now. So obviously that's an issue we want to focus on, but yes, we do have to be the international police. I don't agree with Candace on this, and I definitely think that that Nikki Haley is way more level-headed on this issue than Vivek Ramaswamy is, and I think just to give you my overall opinion about who I support, I support DeSantis and Trump. Those two candidates are my favorites. Between them, I think maybe I lean towards DeSantis a little bit more than Trump, but those two are my favorites. And then after them, I would say Nikki Haley. And Vivek has a lot of good things to say about how the media has been lying about so many things, and he's called them out for lots of things, which are very good. So I commend him for doing that. But as far as his experience in foreign policy, he doesn't have any experience. He has experience in business, and he's very young. He's like 30 something years old. He's too young and inexperienced to be able to take the role as the president of the United States. He doesn't understand foreign policy. He has a lot of academic knowledge about it, but as they say, experience is the best teacher. And Nikki Haley has that experience being involved in government. Nikki Haley was a former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. So anyways, I think if anyone knows more about geopolitics, then it would be DeSantis, who is actually an officer in the military. I think he was a lieutenant in the Navy, and he was an advisor to Navy SEALs in Iraq, I think. So he has the most experience, and he's also very highly educated. All of them are very highly educated, but he's the one with the most experience as far as international affairs. You can't just sit in your armchair and read books about international politics and become an expert just based on that. You have to be actually going to these places, understanding the culture, and all of the implications that has on the political situation. So you have to actually go there and get the experience, the real world experience. You can't just reading books is great, but it's only one piece of the puzzle. You need to have the experience also. Ron DeSantis has that. Trump already has that because he was the president already for 4 years. So these two are the best candidates. We already know what Trump is going to give us. We know what DeSantis is going to give us because he's been the governor of Florida. He's been extremely successful. And let's look at Vivek. What experience does he have? He started voting like 3 or 4 years ago. We don't know what kind of leadership he will give if he's a politician. We don't know. You can theorize about what he's going to be like, but we don't know because we've never had him as a politician. He's never been one before. So we can't say that about Trump. We can't say that about DeSantis or Haley. We know what we're getting if one of them becomes the leader. So we just don't know what Vivek is, and he's always changing his positions on everything. He flips his positions on a lot of things, and I don't think that you can trust somebody like that with no experience and who changes his position on everything. So I just wanted to clear that up. And I hope that you guys understand what I'm saying. If you have some questions or comments, feel free to comment below.